What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to be breaking down Allen Robinson, wide receiver for the Chicago Bears, going over his potential fantasy outlook heading into the 2020 season. But hey, if you guys are looking for more videos like this one, we're going to be breaking down all the fantasy relevant players here on YouTube. So hit that like and subscribe button. Also have a full list of rankings on our website. Make sure to check that out at fantasyaddictionnetwork.com. Going to get right into this video, not going to waste any more time, beginning by looking at Allen Robinson in 2019. Now, if you asked me to say who is the most underrated, undervalued, and least respected receiver in the NFL, at least as far as fantasy is concerned, I would say Allen Robinson has to be number one on that list. This guy has basically been haunted by terrible quarterback play for his entire career. In college, he played with Christian Hackenberg, and then he comes to the NFL and he gets to play with Blake Bortles, and now he's playing with Mitch Trubisky, and maybe he gets an upgrade going up to Nick Foles. Just nonstop bad quarterback play for this guy, and you feel really bad when you look like on the opposite side, a guy like Brandon Cooks that just keeps getting gifted great quarterback after great quarterback. Allen Robinson would only just dream of being able to play for the same good quarterbacks that Brandon Cooks has, but he continues to produce even in the midst of all that. So I don't know why there's so much. It just feels like there's a meh factor when it comes, and maybe it's because he plays for the Bears and he's never actually showing up on any highlight reels because nobody cares what the Bears are doing. But even if that efficiency from the quarterback just goes up just a little bit from Mitchell Trubisky to Nick Foles, or even if they stay with Mitchell Trubisky, I think that's a debate right now. Personally, my money is on the Bears giving the reins to Nick Foles. You don't pay a backup quarterback the kind of money that they paid Nick Foles to come over into Chicago. The Bears also didn't pick up Mitchell Trubisky's fifth-year option. So to me, that's pretty telling that they're like, you know what, screw it, we're going to move on and go with Nick Foles. And even though Nick Foles had a really weak year last year, in the first week before he got hurt, he looked pretty good. And when he came back, he was still dealing with that injury and fighting for his job. So I think all those uh, factors together led to him performing poorly at the end of the year. But the last couple years with the Eagles before 2019, much more accurate, much more decisive than Mitchell Trubisky. So Allen Robinson could see arguably the best quarterback play of his career heading into 2020. Let's take a quick note and just look back at the season from 2019. He had 98 receptions, 1,147 receiving yards, and 7 total touchdowns. That put him at 254.9 points, which put him squarely at eighth in the wide receiver category. I feel like when people talk about Allen Robinson, like they assume he's like, oh yeah, he's like a low wide receiver two. Like the guy's a wide receiver one. He's had multiple wide receiver one finishes at this point in his career. He's still coming up on his age apex, and he is one of the most targeted receivers in the entire NFL. There wasn't really much that will change the type of volume that we should expect from Robinson this year. If you look at the off season for the Bears, they let Taylor Gabriel go. They let Trey Burton go, who's replaced by Jimmy Graham. I think that's kind of a wash. Maybe Jimmy Graham will get a few more targets. Trey Burton is gone. He's replaced by a 35-year-old Ted Ginn. So there's not really anyone coming in to steal production from Allen Robinson. Anthony Miller is probably going to take another step forward, but he was already kind of doing that to replace Taylor Gabriel, not necessarily to replace and take away anything from Allen Robinson. So looking at the game by game stats, I can see why there might be a little bit of hands raised at, well, he had 6 games where he didn't finish as a wide receiver 3 or above. But of those, he only had 3 games under 10 points. Guy is very consistent, had multiple blow up weeks, including 2 blue weeks and a week in week 5 where it was just a good week for receivers. That 28.7 points didn't put him in the top 6 of the position, but guy has a ridiculously high ceiling each week and a very good floor. And then just look at that target column: 13 targets in week 1. He got 16 in week 7, 10, 12, 14, 12, 12. Like, the guy is getting peppered with targets, and again, peppered with very inaccurate and inefficient targets. So if the efficiency just goes up a little bit, like if it's at a 3 right now and you take it up to 4, Allen Robinson could have a phenomenal season. Like, Allen Robinson is the reason you don't need to focus on wide receivers early in your draft. The guy is going about ADP of 4th round right now, which is insane. but that means you can grab 2 running backs in the first couple rounds and still come back and grab Allen Robinson as your wide receiver 1 or 2. That is how you guys are going to be winning fantasy championships this year. You got to look out for people that are being undervalued for no good reason. So if we look some important stats to remember from last year, Allen Robinson had 27 deep targets, which was number 8th among wide receivers. Now, deep targets and deep target share is actually the most sticky stat in terms of wide receiver production for fantasy. So being in the top 10 is really important. Target share 27%. Only 4 other receivers had a greater share of their team's targets than Allen Robinson. And like just from a volume perspective, yes, the targets weren't always the most efficient. From a volume perspective, Allen Robinson is seeing a ton of targets, and that is going to continue to translate into fantasy production as long as he stays healthy. Now, when you look at his catchable target rate, 77.1%. That's 56th. Target quality rating, 5.8, 52nd, 63rd target accuracy. So, like I said, the efficiency was terrible. Mitch Trubisky was not a good quarterback in 2019, and I'm not expecting him to be a much better quarterback in 2020. But if they go with Nick Foles, even if Nick Foles can just knots up that efficiency, I think there's going to be another really good season for Allen Robinson. Even if he just maintains what he did last year with a slightly more efficiency, Allen Robinson is going to have another wide receiver 1 year, and you can get him in the 3rd round or later. That's an absolute steal. So vacated targets 88, not a ton. A lot of those would go to Jimmy Graham and some to Ted Ginn, some to Anthony Miller, but I don't feel like there's really much reason to believe that his target share is going to dip dramatically. For our projections for 2020, we actually have his receptions going down a little bit, but turning that efficiency up per catch just a little bit. So 91 receptions, 1,130 receiving yards, and 8 touchdowns. That would put him right back around the same place, right around wide receiver 8. And that, I feel like, as long as he stays healthy, is his floor. So if he can have even more efficiency and maintain the same volume, you could see him hit 270, 280, possibly even up to 300 fantasy points based on how efficient he actually gets. There's not any other alphas in town. Anthony Miller is coming into his own, but I don't think he's going to do too much to steal the workload that Allen Robinson was getting. I'm not afraid of Jimmy Graham. Tarik Cohen had over 100 targets last year, and he did very little with them, averaged 6 yards per reception. So I don't get the argument for why Allen Robinson is going as late as he is, but it really doesn't matter because you guys are watching this right now. You know now, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, those are the kind of guys that make it to where you can grab 2 phenomenal running backs or go running back, tight end, and steal Allen Robinson in the late 3rd, early 4th. If you guys are looking for a potential league winner, Allen Robinson is your guy. But thank you guys so much for watching. We continue breaking down individual players and giving you guys an outlook just like this one for all the fantasy relevant players. So hit that like and subscribe button. Check us out on fantasyaddictionnetwork.com for a full list of rankings and a bunch of other stuff there as well. But we'll see you guys in the next video.